As we get out, we're approaching the car, me and my partner. We see it's occupied by two individuals. We light up the interior. My partner goes to the driver's side, and he's knocking on the window. The side windows are heavily tinted. I stay more in the front. He's banging on the window. Tell him to open the window, shut the car off. He's not complying. The driver actually starts going down by the lower part of the seat, and I'm telling him, like, Glenn, watch out, he's doing something in there. And then he comes up with a handgun with extended mag. I fire 2 rounds.
Today, I'm excited to sit down with Danny Gregoire, a seasoned New Jersey law enforcement officer whose career covered a wide range of roles, from hands-on investigations to helping to training the next generation of police officers. Danny began his career with the Newark Police Department in 2000, serving in patrol before moving to the Auto Crimes Unit from 2005 to 2008, the Robbery Squad from 2008 to 2010, Fleet Management from 2010 to 2016, the West District Detective Squad from 2016 to 2017, and Major Crimes from 2017 to 2019. Alongside his investigative work, he served as a certified firearms instructor from 2006 until his retirement and held a captain's license to operate the department's police and fire rescue boat. Danny retired from the Newark Police Department in January of 2020. Danny, thanks for agreeing to sit down and share your story with us. So, why did you decide to pursue a career in law enforcement, and why did you choose the Newark Police Department?
I had 4 cousins on the job in Newark. Their dad, which was my uncle, was also on the police department in Newark and retired as a lieutenant. So I guess growing up, being around law enforcement, hearing all the stories, it was kind of like the route I choose to go to.
So tell me about the Newark Police Department when you came on the job. What was it like?
As far as the structure, how it was set up?
Yeah.
When I came on, it was set up with a police director, a police chief. It was broken down into 4 districts. You had the north, south, west, and east. You had like a gang unit, narcotics unit, you had auto crimes, you had a robbery squad, you had homicide squads. So gang units, it was broken down where there was a lot of opportunity. So if you went to a smaller department, you had not as much flexibility to get different training and work for these different units, where in the North Department, you had multiple different units you could get transferred into.
So you get hired by the Newark Police Department and you go to the police academy. What's that like at the time?
Newark has their own academy. It was not an overnight academy. We commuted every day. It was with all their own instructors, and everything was taught in-house.
How, kind of going back to the Newark Police Department, do you remember about how many sworn officers were on the department when you started, roughly?
It was we were a little short. It was somewhere around 1,000 to 1,100 sworn officers.
Okay.
So it was a pretty big department.
So you graduate the academy and you report for your first day of duty. You remember your first day, your first week? Anything stand out in your mind? Yeah,
we got out of the academy, and like you said, the department was already shorthanded, so we were a pretty big class. We had about 100, 110 officers graduating. So they were definitely waiting for us. We were going to be a big help to build up manpower shortage. We were all sent right to patrol, basically, in all different precincts, to fill in all the empty spots.
So were you assigned a field training officer? What did the field training program look like for you?
Yeah, so basically you landed in a precinct, one of the north, south, east, or west, and then they broke you down into squads. Not too many people, they went to afternoons, midnights, and they would assign you an officer, and that's who you would be with for like the next 8 weeks. But due to shortages, a lot of that was cut short. If you were ready to hit the streets, they would pair you up and put you out in the streets ready for patrol.
So do you remember how long the academy was?
Our academy ran for 6 months.
And then how long was your field training program, roughly?
About 2.5 weeks. So we worked a 4 on, 2 off, so it was about almost 3 to 4 tours, and then you were on your own with someone.
2.5 weeks of field training.
Yeah.
Wow. And then when you're assigned to somebody, is that a more senior officer then?
Some people did end up with someone that was already on, and a lot of us ended up with our own classmates. Unfortunately, I ended up with a classmate of mine who graduated at the same time.
So what was that like? I mean, you got two brand new officers out there on the street. Was it very challenging for you, or was it exciting to have somebody that's just as motivated
It was,
as you?
but at the same time, you had a lot of seasoned and senior officers around working that squad. So how they did it was maybe there was only 2 or 3 new officers in that squad. So you had a lot of seasoned guys around you. So if you had problems, or they always showed up to your job.
Okay.
You had a lot of support from the co-workers.
So take me kind of through your career, that 30,000-foot perspective of your different assignments and what that career track looked like for you.
As far as assignments? Or?
Yeah, you started out in patrol, and then you go to where, and how do you end up in your first unit, and then why do you change units? What's that look like?
We were in patrol, and actually during patrol they had within the units itself, within the districts, they had units called like street crime units. So they were picking like a lot of the newer guys and more aggressive that were on the street, letting us work plain clothes, going out doing different operations. You were addressing problems within that that command. So if a captain had a lot of complaints in certain areas, you'd get tasked with that and try to keep you out of the Corps from answering jobs. You would just concentrate on certain areas, certain crime problems, which was interesting because you were getting a little bit of everything. You were getting narcotics complaints, prostitution, burglaries, theft from auto. So they would just put you in a certain area, let you work plain clothes, use rented cars, and you were able to concentrate in that area and kind of control the problems they were having and complaints. That was interesting.
Yeah, you use rental cars.
Yeah.
That's
Because
interesting.
you just couldn't use your everyday Crown Vic or your Caprice at the time. So they would get us rental vehicles to do some surveillance. And so it was not set up to a particular crime. Like it wasn't like a gang unit or narcotics unit where you were just concentrating on one thing. It was just basically crimes that were happening throughout the neighborhood.
So then eventually you do end up on some units that have very specific missions.
Yeah, then back in patrol, and you had to work through the schedule of being shorthanded, vacation, so you couldn't always be with a unit like that. You could be in uniform today, back plain clothes tomorrow, next tour you could be in plain clothes. Then when I got to auto crimes, that was actually a detective position. So you were made a detective and you were assigned investigations. That was just strictly auto crimes.
And then once you became a detective, that was your rank. That didn't change as you went unit to unit to unit.
So in our department, it's appointed. It's not test taking. So it can be taken away at any time.
Okay.
Most investigative units are detective units. So as long as you continue to go to an investigative unit, you stay at a detective rank.
Okay. And then so ultimately you end up becoming a firearms instructor. Was that something you did at the academy, or did you do it for the in-service training?
So yeah, they needed instructors. We had to get MOI certified in order to teach. Once we got certified, then you were able to take on certain classes. So we would go to the academy. I became a firearms instructor to help out an academy with different recruit classes. So every time there's a recruit class, they would send us for weeks at a time, teach firearms instruction. I would also go to the academy and teach different stuff about auto crimes, tow sheets, breaking down VIN numbers on the vehicles. So there was different blocks of instruction we were allowed to teach.
When you look back at your career, you did spend some time in patrol, and I know a lot of those units do make traffic stops. Is there a particular traffic stop that stands out in your mind, traffic stop or stops?
Yeah, it's funny when you brought up field training. So my first day out in field training, your training officer's going over a few things, like some of the basic. But you're in a big city, so you don't have the time to just sit back and just learn everything. That radio comes on, they start calling you out. You got to take the next job and set up in the queue. So you're going from job to job, also while you're trying to learn and train. And I came out at midnights. It was about 3:00 in the morning, and he was like, we're going to just patrol around the bars. The bars are letting out and all, and we'll see what we come across. in the meantime, waiting for the next job to come in. We're going down a little side street, and like I look over, I see like a little kid in a car. I tell him like, hey, like look at this guy driving the car. He's like, it's like 12 years old. He like looks like, let's pull it over. And back then we didn't have computers in the car. You couldn't run the plate. You had to make the motor vehicle stop. Called this man. He sees us. He sees that he's gonna pull us over. Like he pulls into a parking lot, and gets stuck. Long story short, it turns out to be like a stolen car, and I'm like, the kid's 12 years old. It's like first job, first arrest. I'm like, this is really how it is? Like a 12-year-old in a stolen car? Wow. And it was like, he's like, hey, you never know what you're going to come across. Like, next job could be a gun job, could be a drunk driver, it could be a fight. I just never forget that job. It was like 12 years old. Like, people are asking me, how was your first day on the job? I'm like, we locked somebody up at 12 years old in a stolen car. He just stole the car from Elizabeth, just got off the highway. The crazy thing about it was, before you could even process him or go through with the paperwork, you have to get his parents or grandparents, someone that's responsible for him, to give all his information before you could even take him to the Youth Aid Bureau. It was like a 4-hour process just trying to find someone to sign for this kid. It was just, wow. It like always sticks there, like 12-year-old.
So was it a column peel? Was it, sitting at a gas station running?
No, it was back then they would just use a big screwdriver and break the plastic ignition on the car.
Okay.
And basically he was just taking the joyride. He was driving around the clubs, waiting to meet up with his friends and just be a joyrider all night. Another interesting one was my last one, the last one of my career. I was a detective in Major Crimes Unit, suit and tie, and lieutenant came in. We were a little short-handed. We had guys that were out already on a search warrant, and it was a rainy night. And he's like, hey, you have a couple shootings up in this area. Do you want to go up there? We're getting information that there's a guy up there possibly wanted for a shooting. They believe he's out there on the block, and it might be one of our suspects. And he tells me, Dan, it might be one of your guys because you have two in that area. So I'm like, all right, let's take a ride up there. He's like, get some guys from the office, see who you want to go up there with you. But my team, we were broken down into 3 different teams. My partner was not, he was out already for a week. He was off on vacation time, and the other 2 guys were on a search warrant, so there was only 1 more left. So I asked him, like, you want to go out? We have to go check on the guy. The lieutenant's going to come with us. He's like, yeah, sure, we'll go up there. We get up there. As we were getting up there, we have information that, we have a car that he's possibly operating and all that. And we do a drive-by. We're in unmarked cars, and we spot him as we're going westbound on the street there. We spot the car on the right side of the street parked. But it was dark. It was raining. We couldn't tell if there was anybody in there or not. When we get to the opposite end of the street, we reel to my lieutenant and say, hey, we got eyes on the car. It's on the right side of the street. The plate's matching and all that. He's like, oh, let's spin around. I'll come from behind and we'll see. We come back. We pull up to the car. It's parked in the spot. As we get out, we're approaching the car, me and my partner. We see it's occupied by two individuals. I'm the driver, but when I pull nose to nose, I become out on the passenger side of the car. So we're walking up. We light up the interior. My partner goes to the driver's side, and he's knocking on the window. The side windows are heavily tinted. I stay more in the front. He's banging on the window. Tell him to open the window, shut the car off. He's not complying. The driver actually starts going down by the lower part of the seat, and I'm telling him, like, Glenn, watch out. He's doing something in there. And then he comes up with a handgun with extended mag. I fire 2 rounds right through the windshield. I strike him 2 times in the chest. He puts the car in reverse, floors it backwards, hits my lieutenant's car in behind. The car jumps the sidewalk, knocks me over. When I get back up on my feet, I don't see my partner no more, who's on the driver's side. Now he's stuck between my car and my lieutenant's car, and he's revving his car, ramming back and forth. Fire 2 more rounds at him through the passenger side. Breaks free, goes to the end of the street and crashes. So that was pretty much, that was my last motor vehicle stop I made before I retired.
Was he DRT?
Yeah, it was a fatality. I mean, he was dead on the scene. Yeah. I had a .45 with extended mag. I mean, it was just...
Was your partner okay?
Yeah, he just got knocked down to the ground with the car. It just happened so quick, and like he didn't have the opportunity to see the weapon from his where he was standing. He couldn't see through the tint. I had the advantage looking through the front windshield. I don't know if he just never noticed where I was standing with the light, the way the car was illuminated, but he definitely was pulling the gun out on my partner, and who knows at that point what was going to happen.
So what's the investigation look like after that, the shooting investigation?
Once we're involved, they take us from the scene. Now we become the investigation. So our investigation stopped at that point, and there was no, we didn't have any part of that investigation. County comes in and takes it over once it's a shooting.
So county does the shooting investigation.
Yes.
You're put out on leave until that investigation's cleared?
No, not on leave. You know, you go taken to the hospital, you get treated. You come back to work. They put you on kind of like office duties just until they get everything situated and, you know, see where everything's landing and how everything's going as far as the investigation. And you have to, at that time, Attorney General just took over and they have to investigate all police shootings. So you kind of get the clearance from them before you could actually go back to full duty.
Do you remember what year that was?
That was in 2017.
So right towards the end. Has the process for investigating shootings, and maybe you don't know, has it changed dramatically with, I guess, the societal changes and the way the public views the police? You know, it's only been not even 10 years, but there's been so much change.
An investigation is still an investigation. They're going to investigate the same way, but I just feel that society feels sometimes it's always a cover-up when there's a cop involved in a shooting. They believe the other agency is always covering up for the police. So now it's a layer process. So the county would come out, investigate the Newark officer, and then the Attorney General oversees that.
Okay.
Which, if it's a shooting, it's a good shooting, it's a good shooting. You could have 10 agencies oversee it.
No civilian board involved at all? At least not then?
At the time, no. There was no, yes.
Okay. Was that the only shooting that you were involved in during your career?
No. There was another time I was a detective in the robbery squad, and I was working to 7 to 3, get off at 3 a.m., and we had a midnight shift that you would relieve us. 2 great detectives, very seasoned guys we would look up to, and they would come in at midnight. And I remember it was a Friday night, cold, probably like in November, starting to get sick, throat swollen, and Detective Holmes comes in, Levi Holmes, and he's like, you're not looking good. And I'm like, why don't you take off? Like, me and my partner will handle from here. It's 12 o'clock. We don't need you to 3. I'm like, I'll stick around. You guys, sometimes you just never know. You leave early and it's a Friday night and everything hits the fan. I was like, listen, just take off. I got some stuff to type on. I'll stay here. So I stay in. His partner's handling something else in the field. So a job comes in, possible rape, a victim of a rape. There's a gun involved. So when any crimes that took place that were involved with a gun, the robbery squad would handle it. Street robberies, anything. Until it turned into a shooting, then you had a different unit to handle. So he's like, I got to take a ride to South 10th Street. You want to take a ride? Listen, I'll take a ride with you. In case you need extra hands, I'll come up there. But he's going to be the primary detective. He'll be the lead. I could just assist with the scene and everything. We took a ride up there. Units on the scene. The ambulance not there yet. They have the female in their car. She has no clothes on. They have a blanket on her. And they're like, he's like, well, what do you guys got? Oh, she said she met this guy here at this abandoned house. And, he lured her into the house. And then he pulled out a gun. He tried to rape her and pulled all her clothes off. And, okay. So we're looking at this abandoned house, no lights, porch caved in. And he looks at me. He's like, listen, let me talk to her and see. Because a lot of these jobs, it's it turns more into it. Boyfriend, girlfriend, allegation. He goes and talks to her, kind of just taking a look at the house, walking around the perimeter of it and all that, talking to the units on the scene, asking hey, how'd the job come in? Well, all they said was the caller next door heard screaming. Okay, so it didn't come in from her, it came from a third party. All right. Walk in the yard's full of garbage. Back porch, stairs are caving in. And I never forget it. I'm looking at this house with my light, and I see this big spider web going across the back porch. Like that's crazy. Spider web. I'm like, right. Go back out. Levi, what do you got? He's like, no. It's she's legit. She's legit. She's shooken up. She described this guy. He's like, listen, she's basically given up what happened. She was way back, 2005, 5, 6. Internet was just like coming out, Craigslist. She said her sister had an ad up. They were like call girls. Now she's being somewhat honest. Like, we have, it's going to be a good job. All right, so we talked to the unions. Like, anybody search? Like, yeah, we searched the house. Like, nothing in the house. And then we're talking to her. Like, run us through. It's like, what happened? And she's like, he was in the doorway. He's like, come on in, come on. She's like, oh, turn the light on. Turn the light. He's like, no, I don't want to turn the light on. My family's sleeping upstairs. But she was a little leery because the house was like looking abandoned and there was no lights on. So she was getting close. Like, come on in, don't make noise. He stayed in the doorway. And she's like, well, just turn the hallway light on. But at the same time, she's getting close. When he got closer, he grabs her and pulls her in the house. And then, like, what happened? He's like, she just pulls me in. And he's like, there's stairs going up. There were stairs going down. He just threw me on the ground right there. He had a gun to me the whole time, like, pulled all my clothes off. So we walk into the first part of the house there to start looking around. And her story's credible. Like, there are all her clothes. There's 2 stairways. The rest of the house further in is just abandoned. And so we asked the units, like, hey, you guys searched this whole house? Like, yeah, we searched the house. So we asked her, hey, what happened, like, at this point, like, because I already see this spider web in the backyard. So he couldn't run out the back door. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I just start screaming and yelling. He was trying to hold my mouth. We're fighting. I'm screaming. I just ran out. And I'm like, she's outside, no clothes. So you just ran out. Did he come out behind you? Like, no, he never came out of the house. He ran in the house. So I'm like, Levi, like, come in the backyard. So we tell the units, like, the pro, like, keep a perimeter up. Like, look at this yard. Like, he couldn't run out this back door. He'd come through the spider web. Like, it's the stupidest thing, but it's like the key thing to this. I'm like, he could never come out here. And like, look at the garbage. Like, these guys got right on the scene. So between calling dispatch and it was an old lady caller who was the neighbor next door, she heard the screaming. So this girl sounds like, no, I ran out the front. He never came out. Levi, like, he's like, let's go search his house. Like, let's go search the house. The first set of stairs go to the basement. So we tell the guys, like, hey, did you guys all search the house? Search the house. Like, maybe he ran up and now he jumped from roof to roof. That's the only option out. She said he never came out the front. You guys pulled up, got her, put her right in the car. He never went out the back. We're searching, so me and Levi go into the basement. There's no lights. I'm the first guy. He's behind me. As we get off the stairs, I'm just going straight into the basement. There's a wall along my left where we got flashlights, and we're just searching with our guns. So I'm going to the left. He's right behind me. He starts searching to the right. As he's going to the right wall, I'm going to the left. It's pitch black. I can only see where my light's going in front of me. I can't see to the right, can't see behind me. I can see his light to my right. He's searching. He comes to the first doorway, which is underneath the stairway. And then I just hear him telling, like, drop the gun, drop the gun. Boom, a round goes off. Like, I just turn my light off. I stay in the dark. I'm like, I'm in a suit just now, like, listen for the next thing. Like, did my partner get shot or not? And I don't want to, like, illuminate now, because if he shot him, he's going to see where I'm at. I'm like, Levi, he's like, yeah, he's hiding right here. So I start heading to him. The guy actually goes behind a washer and dryer that was under these steps. He fired 1 round. The suspect didn't get no rounds off. He actually hit him right in the face, right in the mouth, came out the back of his neck. We get him out of there. We get him out of the washer and dryer, and that's our suspect. Like, cuff him up. We bring him outside. We get an ambulance to treat him. And he was just hiding in the basement. Like,
wow.
It was the craziest thing. Like, we're like secondary to the scene. We're detectives. We're like, how do we come across this guy hiding in the house still?
What's the response from the uniform guys?
They're like in shock.
Yeah.
Some of them that are on the perimeter come running in, like who shot? Like, who shot? Who's the rounds? Like, quiet neighbors. Like, 1 round was like, what happened? Like,
yeah.
They're waiting to hear, like, oh, he slipped, he tripped. Like,
yeah.
Like, listen, the guy was hiding under the steps with the gun and all. Like, it turned out to be a totally great job. It was his investigation, but it was like.
Did the offender survive?
Yes.
Survived and ultimately convicted? Do you know?
Yeah, and they tied him into like several other rapes. He was that was his MO. He was a guy that would meet girls online and bring them to meet them at these abandoned houses. And what the problem with that is, when you're running like an illegal prostitution thing, you're scared to go to the police. If she made it out, very rarely she would have reported that. So now you had all these victims not reporting these crimes, and he's just preying on them like
yeah,
because they don't report it.
So some of the other units you worked in, you talked a little bit about the auto crimes unit, robbery squad you were just talking about. the West District Detective Squad and major crimes. With that major crimes unit, what was primarily your responsibility? What types of cases did you
At the time,
investigate?
major crimes was just shootings. They were just shootings. Our workload was just shootings because we were getting so many shootings at the time. They didn't want you backed up with nothing else. Because back in the day when we came on the job, the robbery squad would handle anything with a gun, from a carjacking to a robbery to a shooting that was non-lethal. But at the end, there was just so many, and they wanted these detectives to handle just shooting. So we would just handle shooting. Our loads were just shootings.
So just shootings. There's a homicide squad that handles
Yes.
murder investigations.
Once your victim checked out, it went right over to the county, became a homicide investigation.
Is there a particular shooting that you were involved in that you remember? Shooting investigation with that squad? Anything that stands out?
Yeah, after thinking about this one, and having kids now, because at the time I didn't have kids, we get called to came in as a shots fired. The house was struck. Get that a lot. Drive-bys, totally like unrelated house or car gets struck. They said, the lady called up, said there was some bullets came through her window. Then calls start coming in that we had a kid that was struck at the scene. Patrols on scene. They notify us. It's confirmed somebody is shot. Come up here. We'll give you all the details. We get up there, and I never forget it. It's like second floor of the house, windows blown out, and just load of blood. The victim's not on the scene. Like who got shot here? Like a 4-year-old baby. 4-year-old baby. Like, wow. Like. There's a 10-year-old on the scene, and there was like another female that was like 7 or 8 years old. I'm not the lead detective. I'm just there to help with this investigation. So we kind of let the lead, he has the mom, takes her out of the house, wants to talk to her, the mom of this child that shot, and we're just getting a lot of mixed stories, a lot of different information. More calls are coming in that there was fighting on the street. The stories is not adding up. We get notified that the kid doesn't make it, checks out at the hospital, one gunshot to the chest. 4-year-old, and like we're in this house looking at everything, and like the bullet comes through the window to the second floor. It's like, how to hit a little kid who's not even that high, and then the little girl like is upset, and we're just talking to her, and I'm like, what went on here? And she's like, oh, my brother, that was my brother. Like, well, what happened? Oh, they were playing with a gun. And so we're saying, like, call my partner. I'm like, hey, listen, what are you getting outside? I'm like, I don't think this was like no drive-by random. What do you mean? Like, the little kids up here are saying like they were playing with a gun. And now, like, looking back, having kids, like, this is the hardest thing. Like, the mom is giving us this totally different story that she was in the back bedroom. She just heard a gunshot. She had it came from outside. After talking to the kids, turns out to be the 10-year-old is the one that found the gun in the living room and was playing with it and shot the little kid by accident. And you got the parents that are here just lying, telling us a totally different story of their own kid. It was like, looking back at it, was like the hardest thing, like to deal with that now. Like,
So did that stay your case, or did that case get handed off?
no, the county has to come in because it turns to a homicide. They have to handle, so they take all our prelim, all our notes, everything that we did, and they run from it after there. But it's like, then the prosecutor's office didn't want to really prosecute because they're like, she's already going through a tough time.
Yeah.
It was the boyfriend's gone. Like, you want to start charging the adults, but it's like, you got a 4-year-old that.
Yeah.
And just thinking, like, I wonder, like, what happened now to these kids that were involved? Like, are they traumatized? Like, the little girl seen her brother laying there in a puddle of blood, getting shot by her older brother by accident, like, totally by accident. Like, these kids have to live with this.
Did the mom try and stage this scene at all to make it look like everything lined up?
There
with
wasn't
her
too much
story?
to stage. Just looking where the way the bullet came through the window on that angle, it should have ended up in the ceiling, not in the chest of a 4-year-old who's only 2 foot off the ground. But the whole lying part, it turned out to be, it was like the boyfriend's gun. He fled the scene with the gun. It's just all neglect on the parents, putting these kids in this position.
There was an actual shot through the window?
Yeah, they broke out the whole. They broke out the whole window, like it was came up through the window.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. So clearly, that's an example of where you got a feeling that something just wasn't right. with that call. Was there ever another incident that you were on where you're like, something's not right with this? This isn't adding up.
You get many. Many. When it's gang retaliation shootings, you're at the hospital interviewing, and they're telling you like, yeah, I was just hanging outside, and like a red Jeep came by, and then you're like getting video, and it's like a silver Audi, and you're like how are you telling me like a red Jeep went by was shooting at you? Like two different opposite.
Yeah.
You got when it was gang retaliation, you got that all the time. They just didn't need the police to help them.
What are some of your best memories of the job?
It was a great job. Coming to work, working holidays. Like you said, we worked with a lot of good people. It was fun. It was a fun job. Just coming in, the relationship you made with the guys you worked with. Off duty, just created good friendships. It was definitely a good department. A lot of good people in the department.
How were the relationships within the units you were assigned to? Was it pretty tight? Was everybody pretty close when you went to these units?
Yeah. I mean, I got moved around a lot. I went to a lot of different units, which was great, a lot of different experience, and worked with a lot of different people. And every unit was like a family. You got into a unit, once you were like accepted in that unit and they seen you were a good guy and they treated you like family. It was good, some good units.
Is there anybody that any one person or more than one person that you kind of looked at as a mentor, somebody who you wanted to emulate your career after?
Oh, yeah, there were units that, investigative units that when I got transferred in, there were some detectives that were already in there for 8 to 10 years that were very knowledgeable, very good at investigations. They were just senior, we looked up to them as a new detective, only a year or 2 years on the job, like 2 years, 3 years at the detective unit. These guys were already in there 10, 15 years. Like they were dinosaurs, but you know what? They knew the job. Like they really knew the job. It wasn't, and then, you look at a guy, he's already on 20 years, 10, 15 years, and DB status. Like, that's who you went to. Like, these were things you didn't learn in the academy. Like, you're brand new. Like, here you go. You got to take a statement. You're like, I remember in auto crimes, I go to Tony Brown. He's a detective in there, very smart guy. I'm like, Tony, I never took a statement. Like, we didn't learn statements in the academy. He's like, don't worry, it's going to be all right. Go in their room, put down all the questions you want to answer. Like, we did it back then on a typewriter. There was no computers. It wasn't even, there was no audio and video at the end. We used to do audio, video, that was it. Just have a conversation. Back then, you had to type it all up. And just the little tips that he gave, like on a typewriter, like have it all pre-typed. So when the guy comes in, you already got your 30 questions for him. He's like, don't worry, you're going to learn as you go along. It's not going to be perfect. Same thing when you went up to the robbery squad. Taking a 40-minute statement, an hour-long statement on a typewriter. No, you couldn't mess up. Some of them didn't have autocorrect and stuff like that, reprint. It was definitely a big difference. Learning that job, which I feel we learned in some of the hardest times, but by the best guys, to the way it was at the end, where just everything was handed to you. Like,
so you kind of bring up a point there when you're talking about typewriters and not having video and then having video and audio at the end. What are some of the biggest changes that you saw over the course of your career?
As far as the training and technology, or
whatever, when you look back, you're like, boy, that was probably the biggest change that I experienced.
What kind of ruined the job and made the job change dramatically now? I think politics. Politics got too involved in the police departments, and it's just that puts this like that puts the division between the community and the police. They're big on all this community policing. Now, listen. If you were a good cop back in the day and you were like a patrol cop or detective in a neighborhood, you were doing community policing. You interacted with the community. Like, we didn't have to be on TikTok. We didn't have to have coffee with a cop. We were out there every day. When there was nothing going on, you knew all the business owners, that area you worked. You knew the mailmen. That made you a better cop. You knew all the good people in the neighborhood. They wanted to see you. Stop by. We had like business owners who would give us passwords. Here you go. Like, here's the code to get in my business. You guys are working midnights. Here's the key to the gate. You want to come inside. Because you're there checking his business. It's like free security. Mm-hmm. He made a friendship. You got a relationship now with a business owner who can call you like, hey, I'm having a problem. They're coming at night. They're jumping my fence. They loved us. The community loved us. Like, we did community policing back then. It was a different way. Now it's like, oh, coffee with a cop. You don't have donuts. Like, they want to put this all over social media. Like, we did that then. Like, if you were a good cop or a good detective in there, you knew all the businesses. we worked in some rough neighborhoods. The whole neighborhood wasn't bad. Like I would tell these new guys, like, listen, oh, the street's bad. It's like all like, if you had a city block, it was a lot of good people on that block. A lot of them didn't come out of the house. A lot of them you didn't meet, you didn't interact because they were good people. They went to work. You had that one or two family that was trouble on that whole block. The whole block's not bad. The whole neighborhood's not bad. You just had these one or two families. So if you knew who the bad people were, you knew who all the good people were. And they, give out your business card. They would call you like, hey, detective, I just want to let you know, this is what's going on. You guys were out here last night. Like, this is what's going on. I don't really want to be involved, but this is your trouble person. It's only that one or two knuckleheads on the street. So if you just knew who you were dealing with, you had the neighborhood under control. And they liked us. The neighborhood came to us. People think the city of Newark is bad. Like, the whole city's not bad. A lot of good people come out of the city, but you had the one or two on every block that was a problem, and that's what you addressed.
You bring up community policing and that it's something that was always being done, but now there's a term attached to it. So it's like the buzz phrase. And
if I want to be in politics right now and I want to run for a council spot, what you do is you go to a neighborhood and you get this one bad job and you run with it. Oh, look, the cop beat up this guy. You take that as a politician. You run with it. Like, oh, we're going to stop this. And they paint this picture of just this one incident or a half an incident. And they're just using that as a campaign trail. Like, they're just using that to get votes. Like, you're not helping the community. You're not helping the police department. You're just running to get votes on that.
The same thing with that community policing, de-escalation. To me, that's always insinuated that cops were just escalating, that they weren't out there trying to de-escalate, that they rolled on calls just to try and find a reason.
We didn't ride around. Like, we went to calls that people were calling us for a service. You're calling us for a service. Now we show up and you don't like our response. Like, one party wants us there, the other party don't.
Yeah.
It's the good guy and the bad guy. Like, you're not treating everybody like the bad guy, but your job is to give the service to the person that called and get the bad guy.
Yeah.
Now it's like I look at these cops now. It's like, you guys are like robots. You are like robots. You got all this equipment, all this gear. For what? Like, you can't even use all that. Like, you got tasers, you got ASP. Like, we didn't have all that equipment. Video, all this stuff, and it's like, they're still saying the cops are wrong. You gave them all this equipment, but then you don't want them to use it. So where are we going with this?
Yeah. So you were single almost your entire career, but that doesn't mean the job didn't have an impact on your family. What kind of impact with your family?
Back then, like I said, most of my career I wasn't married. I never had kids until the end of my career, which I think it affected my parents. My sister, I'm sure, knowing, hey, he's going to work every night in Newark. Newark's a crazy city, and it's always on the news. Something's going on. I'm sure they always were worried. But on the other hand, they were happy. They were proud, like, hey, my son's a Newark detective. He works in Newark. Because back then, it was like, you went somewhere, you met other agencies. They always, they looked up to, hey, how do you guys do in this city? Not that we were better. We had no special training. It was just that the job that they handle. There are some towns might get 2 shootings a year. Mm-hmm. We could handle, in patrol, you might go to 4 shootings in 1 week. Like, you might get a shooting every night as a patrolman. As a detective, you might catch 3 shootings in a week. It just never, the work volume was so much more in the city of Newark that it was. Other towns always came and looked up to us and how do you handle this? Like, how do you handle, because you're handling a lot bigger capacity than when they only have it maybe a little spur. Mm-hmm. The night I was involved with my last shooting, the detective I was working with wasn't even a Newark officer. He was a Paramus detective who was sent down to get training, to see how we handle these shootings, to see how we handle crime scenes, because it was just on a larger scale. So by sending him for a couple months with us, he might have handled 40 shootings. He goes back to Paramus, they might get 1 a year. Mm-hmm. But at least he's already educated, he's trained, he's seen how it was handled going from job to job every night. So the workload is definitely there.
So you talk about the level of, you use the word shooting, I'm going to say the level of violence in the city that it exists and that you guys are forced to operate under while you're there. Was there ever a coworker, maybe somebody you went to the academy with, somebody you knew, that lost their lives in the line of duty or ended up suffering a very serious injury as a result of a violent confrontation on the street?
Unfortunately, I was working a few nights when we had officers shot, and I did experience that. I was in patrol. My very first officer that was shot in the line of duty who made it and lived, we worked that night. We were the first unit on the scene. His partner, which was a classmate of mine, she was a female. She was able to, thank God, return fire and kind of like, we believe like she saved his life because he got, the guy jumped out of the backseat of a car on a motor vehicle stop with a Uzi at the time. Uzis were big. And just unloaded on him. She was able to come out the pen and start firing back. So I believe by her firing back, got them to flee and saved his life. That was definitely an experience night. It was the first time we had an officer down and that we were actually working.
What's the response to something like that look like?
Back then, like you said, we worked for a big family. It was a midnight tour. It was a citywide. Like you had every officer that was working there. It's like radio silence. Like they don't dispatch jobs. Like the city, they just shut the city off until we aid to that officer and set up some. They have a direct route set up to the hospital. Hospital's already on standby. Like it was an unbelievable experience to see how the department comes together. You got guys that are off duty coming in, detective bureaus. Every detective bureau comes in and handles that. We had great leadership back then. You had words for police directors and police chiefs that were around a long time. Like, I could be an auto squad detective, but you knew you were responding to work. We have an officer shot, officer down. Like, every unit's responding. Like, everybody's coming in.
So do you guys handle that transport yourself, or do you wait for medical to show up on scene? Or does it just take so long for medical to get there that you...
No, they monitor our channels. And one thing about EMS in that city, UMD, they monitor our channels. They're on our radios. When officers hurt it down, they're there. And then we just assist, like, a direct route. Like, that route is... remember, we had to take her, too. And it was just like... It was like a parade route. Like, there was not one car, like, right to the hospital, direct. They were great with that.
What's the response from the community when something like that happens?
Back then, the community would come together. That neighborhood would be quiet. Like, it was just like respect. The streets had respect. I'm sure it's different now. And now they must, like, it's been a while. But you had, businesses reaching out, like, what's going on? How's the family? Everything,
How do you think the city has changed from your time on the job and how the people within the city interacted with the police department and today? Do you see a difference?
Yeah, I believe it was better back then. Community felt like they needed us, we needed them, and I think it was a better relationship then. Now there's a lot of people for their own agenda that they they put a wedge. Everybody wants to put the wedge between the police department and the community. Like, let's keep a wedge there. Like, because I think it's power, it's control. Mm-hmm. If we keep the wedge, we can control the community and we control the cops. But if the cops are mingled and they're in that community and they're getting along and like the business owner don't have to go through a politician to get some police presence, you usually just call the local commander and the captain would reach out like, hey, this is your sector. Like, go up by that business in the morning. There's panhandlers in front. Okay, no problem, Cap. We'll go up there and handle it. Now I think they want it like where they have to depend on, you have to go through a councilman, you have to go through the mayor's office. It's just too involved with the policing. For the last 50, 60 years, business went on in the city and people were able to conduct a lot of business, it went on. So how come it worked then? And, now I think it's just a lot of reinventing the wheel.
Do you have any regrets when you look back at your career?
No. It was a great career. I met great people along the way. I'm still in touch with a lot of people, great friendships. A lot of good business owners that turned into friendships now. And it was great. It was like a big networking tool. I used to tell a lot of guys coming on the job, like, use this to your advantage. You're just not that cop. Don't just go to that neighborhood when they're calling you. Go through there. You're going to meet good people.
So we talked a lot about your career, a lot about your experiences, but at some point you make the decision that it's time to retire. Why does that happen? How does that decision come about?
Like I said, that last motor vehicle stop where the last shooting, I used deadly force. And basically everything was lined up right. The timing was like just perfect. The opportunity to retire. It was just the perfect time to retire. So, just able the opportunity to walk away.
So do you miss the job?
I missed the job. I missed investigations. Like I tell these people, like crime didn't change. Crime is still there. If you want crime, it's still there. Just all the bullshit, like the political bullshit is just like it ruins these guys. Like you see them like. If you ride around now, you see more cops just like parked, sitting somewhere, just waiting for the call. Before it was a lot of patrolling. Times change, society changed. I don't think the police are wanted, and they don't want to be seen. How many people just want to defund the police? It's not like we don't need them until we need them, and then we need them. We want them all there. Well, like they're not. Like you guys all week, you didn't want them in the area, you didn't want them around, and now it's like you want the police to come by, you want them to drive through. It's totally, I don't know, it's just totally different.
So what are you doing now?
So towards the end of my career, I started a part-time business like junk removal. While I was working, I had a side business, and it just took off. Maybe the way times changed, and COVID came, and now it's a construction business. So we do demolition, we do dumpsters. It's very successful. Started my family. I have 2 kids. It worked out perfect.
You want to share the name of your business?
J-Dan Services. It's a
J-Dan
demolition
Services.
and dumpsters, yeah.
So do you have any last words of advice for someone that might see this episode?
It's definitely not the same job that we all talk about. It's not. You're not going to experience what we went through. These younger guys coming on now, and it's not their fault. It's just policing's not the same. You're not wanted. People say, "Oh, it's the cameras that ruined it." The camera's a great tool. And I was having this conversation the other day, but you want to put a camera on a cop and tell him, "Here, go out and do your job." Okay. To me, I would love to have that. I wish I had that tool. It was a great tool. It's your tool. Use it to your advantage. You're not doing nothing out there that can never be on video. That was a tool we could always go back to. Like, how many foot chases were you in, or where suspects got away? If you had that camera on, you had a perfect image of what happened, what went on. That tool, I could find the guy the next day or identify him. We had to go weeks and weeks and keep going back to that neighborhood to try to find this suspect got away. You're trying to identify him off a tattoo or a scar on him. Months went by. But they're all saying to change it. It didn't change because of that. But where I have a hard time with that is you dispatch a cop to a scene or an incident, he gets involved with a camera. And I've been in them. I've been in 2 where it just happens in seconds. Now you want to take his body camera. You want to put it on like a big screen TV or a projector in a room that's got air conditioning. It's daylight. You got lights on. And you got 15 people in the room saying like, look what he did. Like, and they want to critique this. If you want to use that video, like you want to use that in court and all that, and you want to use it against the cop, bring all the jurors in. If it's a nighttime shooting and he's in nighttime, turn all the lights off in the room, put the video on and say, everybody ready? Play it to 4 or 5 seconds, turn it off, turn all the lights back on and say, what do you think? Everyone in that room is going to say, oh, could you put it on again? Could you do it? Why? The cop didn't have a chance to review this 6 times and let me do it this way, let me do it that way. So I'm so big against that because you want to critique all these jobs and all these cops like, oh, he should have did it this way. Even his own department, like, really? How many cops went to work that night and said, I'm going to get involved in a shooting, I'm going to get involved in a motor vehicle stop, a fight. Like, I'm going to go and punch this guy in the bar in the face because he grabbed my gun or pushed my partner and planned that. He didn't plan that. It was a reaction to an action. Cops are reacting to an action. But then you want to put in a courtroom and say like, hey, they play these videos 50, 60, 80 times. People are sitting there, they're comfortable, they just got done with lunch. Oh, we're going to play the video again. Why? You want to use that against the cop? You get one time at it, just the way he did. If some of my shootings were on camera, it's like, I had a 3-second clip of it. When my partner went down, I went over like, hey, I didn't know what happened to him. I didn't know if he got shot either. You all right? He's like, yeah, what the fuck happened? Like, I shot the guy. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, he pulled out a gun, like he had a gun. So he was on that side of the car, didn't even know what I seen. So he's seen something totally different than I seen. But then you want to play the video 50, 60 times and keep showing the news, the juries. They have time. We don't have that kind of time. So just give it the same amount of time the cops seen. If it was a 5-second clip, you only got 5 seconds of this video. It's off. It's it. It's an evidence. You're not playing it no more. That's where I have a hard time. And you want these guys to do their job out there. Like, how many times I'm pursuing a vehicle, I'm the driver, we're going around a turn off the turnpike, and my partner's like on the radio yelling, like, oh, they just threw a gun through. I'm like, I'm the driver. I'm like, you saw that? I'm like, yeah, he just threw a gun. I just saw it in the window. I'm like, Matt, you really saw that? I'm like, yeah, it was a gun. He's calling on the radio. I didn't see it. So like, we're in the same car, and I didn't see what he's seen. And then like, you go back and you just start searching, you get a dog, I'm like, oh wow, there's the gun. Like, he's seen it. Like, how many times I was in a job, I probably didn't see something that I was right in front of me. I didn't see, but the camera might have caught it. That's where I have a hard time with that. Like, a lot of judging going on, and it's not where law enforcement's the same. It's just not. Like, everything a cop does now, they're going to second guess it. So you're putting these guys in positions where, like, I don't blame them. Go hide behind the supermarket. Like, why are you going to be in public view when they're just constantly bashing you and you're the problem? Like, you're chasing a suspect, the suspect get killed, you want to charge the cop? Like, no one looks at, well, why isn't the suspect, like, in trouble? Or we can't bring up the suspect's criminal record during a trial. Like, no, we don't want the jury to see, like, he has 7 more gun convictions. Why? 7 gun convictions created what we have now, a homicide that this guy did. Yeah, but we can't show that. But you can show the cop's video like 20 times, like, oh, you know, like, he was aggressive. He shouldn't punch him in the face. Like, he should have maybe held him by his wrist. Like, it was a reaction to an action. That's where I think policing is, like, totally different.
So I'm hearing 3 pieces of advice there. 1, to the officer, use your tools to your advantage. Take advantage of technology. 2, if you're a boss, support your people. And 3, if you're the public, have realistic expectations and see it from the perspective of a police officer. Yeah,
just, you know, back each other up. You got to back each other up. It's not you against your other coworkers. It's you guys against the criminals, and that's just got to back each other up and support each other. The guy's in with a little bit of problem, don't walk away from him. Like, just because there's a camera video, like, hey, you forgot to do this, this, and this. Like, he just went through an incident, like a traumatic incident. Like, he forgot to write it. A report's notes. Because I caught something and I said, hey, you forgot to put this in your report. That's nothing wrong. That's not a crime. Like, hey, you're just taking notes. Our reports are notes of what we seen, what we remembered. Like, did you go through everything right? And you got bosses come to the scene like, hey, you're on your own. Like, what do you mean? Oh, the camera's on. Okay, but you're a supervisor. Make sure everything is right. We're not telling, like, they try to turn and say, oh, no, I'm not helping him. I'm not going to write the report. Like, no, but, you know, he was just in a crazy situation. He's not going to remember everything. You know, document everything that happened. Like, hey, you forgot to put down you were dispatch here. You were a backup unit. You know, that's going to be a whole different thing 8 months from now when it's in court. Like, they think you're the first unit on the scene. Like, no, I was a backup to something. So that support's not there no more from the supervisors and from the coworkers. They just think everyone's on their own. Like, it's me. It's about me. Like, I got to worry about my job, my assignment. And you just see it. Like, you just totally see it. It's not.
Danny, I want to thank you for sharing your story and sitting down with us. Some great stories, and clearly you had a great career. Thank you.
Thank you.